Okay, we're back with the PE210. I've been cleaning it up a little bit, and there was a lot of dirt and oil on the spark plug lead. You can see there's still a lot of muck there. And what is recommended on these older engines is to decarbonize the top end. Here's the waterproof spark plug, and we can see pretty well that it's running. The mixture's good. You know, we have a light, very light sand color on the electrode and the ground, so the mixture's right. We're not getting a lot of carbon buildup down inside where the electrode is. So I've taken the 4 head studs off and about to pull the head off to look underneath. So let's take a look. All right, I'm gonna set the camera up here. It's hard for me to see because the sun's over my right hand shoulder, but this area here, the head is oriented this way on the cylinder, and there's a lot of oil here, which tells me more than likely the head studs weren't tight enough. Now I don't want to touch the gasket because it's not a it's like a fiber gasket, and it'll probably break if I try to remove it. And I don't have a replacement, so I don't want to do that. Turn the generator a little bit, and I'll roll the piston to the top. Everything sounds pretty good in there. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's some carbon on the top of the piston, but it's not enough to really make a difference. And this thing had some runtime. The bore is pretty smooth, but it doesn't look to be in bad shape overall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decarbonize the top end down in there with my drill press and a wire wheel. So let's do that. Be right back. Alright, so I have a small cup brush in the drill press, and drill press is plugged in. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Right in through here, I'll scrape that out with a smaller screwdriver. But right in the corners down in there, I wasn't able to get the cup brush in there, but most of the carbon is gone, and I'll have to get my torque wrench. Studs are 3/8, so it should be like 34 to 40 pound-feet of torque, and maybe the engine will run a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, so one day I was motoring on the freeway, the 5 freeway, and I found a gray case. It turned out, I don't know if we can read that, it says engraved WSDOT. This is Washington State Department of Transportation, and it appears that someone was doing some work on something on the side of the road and left this torque wrench behind. It's a Proto. So that's a pretty awesome find. That happened about 5 years ago. So we can see there's like a... Man, I can't see. There's a wedge on the top of the piston, and there's a relief there. So the head orients like that, and then we get a washer with a shake-proof washer. That's a shake-proof washer. It is kind of worn, but I looked around, I don't have any more. It's been crushed several times, so it's quite possible somebody had the head off this unit once before. And down on the bottom, and one of the things I have to make, these nuts have a hole in the middle of them. You can see that looks like an 832 screw. There is a flat cover. It's round, and it has 5 holes in it, one for the spark plug, and for one for each of these head bolts, head nuts, and that's so I can install the little part of the fan that keeps the air flowing through the fins, the cooling fins. So let me set this up. I know that this torque wrench is way overkill for what I'm doing, but it's the only one I have. I don't have a smaller one. Alright, so these are snug, hand tight. I'm going to roll the engine over. Okay. The piston didn't hit the head. And I have this set at 30 pound-feet of torque. Okay. Oh, idiot. Let's try going clockwise, shall we? Not the sharpest knife in the block all the time. That's better. Hmm. 30 may be too tight because it didn't click. Newton meters. Maybe this is 20. It starts at 30. Wow. Either I'm not working this thing right, or it's too big. So that's closed all the way. I don't have it set. I don't know if you can see that right there. I have it set at like 25. Let's attempt another head. There it is. There it is. Okay, so whatever that is, wait till the cars go by. There it is. Just a moment, another car coming. There it is. Okay, so maybe that was 25. Let's see what happens when I actually go up to 30 foot-pounds. Sorry, pound-feet. Let's see if that'll work. I'll do the same cross pattern. Yeah, that's not working. I don't want to break. So I'm tuning it back down to where it was. And we're going to leave it at that. Yep. Yeah. Okay, that makes me happy. So, fan shroud can go back on. And I found a screw that has another shake-proof washer on it for the bottom. This thing only had one viable screw holding the fan shroud to the assembly, and it rattled quite a bit. Right, spark plug back in. (13/16) the spark plug wasn't that tight to begin with, and now the weatherproof lead. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, be right back. I have an 11/16 inch socket in my drill motor because using the ripcord blows. I opened the vent and the fuel petcock, closed the choke. It'll increase the RPM. Maybe that's what I needed to do. Just a bit. Let's go another half turn. That's sounding better. Down here where the exhaust manifold meets the cylinder, there's an exhaust port. And when I was over at my buddy's house yesterday, we got 2 more of these things running. And I got to see an original manual from World War II. There are 4 small holes about probably a 1/4 inch in diameter for the exhaust port. And they were plugged. So this thing was not happy. You know, if you don't have good exhaust, you get all plugged up and then, yeah, you're not happy. But it's now, and I just used a screwdriver to clean the port, Phillips screwdriver that fit in there, and then I pulled the plug and blew the cylinder out. And I'm liking this. This is actually running a lot better than it was. And it started up a lot more easily. So one thing I didn't show on a video yesterday, this little loop right here is the kill for the breaker points. And that's it. So I'm going to call that a success. It's running a lot better. And yep, this old stuff definitely needs top end work with decarbonizing things. And I think those 4 head bolts were just a little too loose because of the oil being blown by the head gasket. I might be able to, if I ask nicely, Sir Bertimus might relinquish a head gasket to me, and I can put a new one in there. But this one seems to be working okay for now. So that's the end of my video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.